characteristic I would like to speak to you about is about closeness, the space concept for Hispanics. The concept of space is totally different, and it groups Latinos together into close contact. No matter if they're relatives, if they're friends, if they don't know the person they're talking to, they usually tend to stand pretty close. Children are usually kept pretty close. During conversations, you will observe that people are very close to each other, and as they meet for the first time, or since they haven't seen each other for a while, they shake hands, they tend to embrace, they kiss, and it doesn't matter if they're relatives or friends or people that they don't know. I would like to change a little bit this characteristic when it comes to rural people from Mexico. I noticed when I started working with them that they did not kind of appreciate, they felt kind of uncomfortable if you put your arm around them or try to pat them on the back or in some way touch them. And usually if you're a female, you will never go and kiss a male, especially if he's from the rural parts of Mexico. And the women also, usually they tend to extend their hand. And another thing I noticed also is that when a female shakes the hand of a male, especially from the rural areas in Mexico, is that he does a very weak handshake. While other countries, especially like my country, I'm from Argentina, if you don't give a firm handshake, it's a sign that you're weak or you're kind of like deceiving somebody. So as you see, it's very difficult to put this characteristic to all of them, to all Latinos in general. But my experience has been, as I said, rural immigrants tend to be a little bit different. After a while of working with them, I was able to pat them on the back and be a little bit more, a little bit closer to them and more physical. And they didn't feel so uncomfortable. But at the beginning, when I took my job and I was so touchy feeling, I could tell they felt uncomfortable, and it was hard for me to change, so I guess they had to adjust to me versus me adjusting to them. But I have a funny story that happened to me while I was working as a teacher here in the county, and I remember I'm usually very excited, and when I talk to somebody I get really close to them and I use my hands a lot. And one of my supervisors, we were having a class, and she pulled me aside and she extended her hand and she walked all the way around with her hand extended, and she said, "Maria, can you see this is my space and I need you to stay this far from me. I really do not like you being in my space." And it was kind of like a shock to me. I felt really embarrassed by her pulling me aside to tell me this, and I really didn't understand what she meant by that. So, after we finished our workshop, and I called my friends and I talked to them about it, and I said, I felt like that was so rude, but they explained to me the difference, that they explained that to me, that Americans need their space and their privacy, and you're invading their space when you walk too close to them. But that was something it was a very hard concept for me to understand, because in my country, being from Argentina, most of our immigrants are Italian and European descent, and usually we tend to be very close, and we are the only country in the Latino community that men kiss each other, and that's very normal. And it's funny because other Hispanics will see them as being very feminine or even being gay because they're kissing each other. But you see this in the soccer field, you see this in the rugby fields, you see this during events, sport events, in politics, even politicians kiss each other, even if they're males. So it's just a very different way to approach closeness, and what is wrong, what is right, I don't know, it's just very different.